Hello, everybody. Welcome to my mess of an office. But no, really, welcome to today's video, which is going to be an industry advice. And today's industry advice is going to be on management. The reason why I want to talk to you guys about management is because so many of you are very far away from requiring management, and that's kind of the first thing that I want to say is that a lot of you guys are pretty far away from requiring management. And I say that respectfully, that is for your own benefit. A lot of people that I've met in the industry, especially up and comers, have an unrealistic expectation of what management can do for them, what management will do for them, how quickly they should acquire management, how they should acquire management, what management they should acquire, so on and so forth. And I kind of just want to get in front of you guys and set the record straight, especially because I have definitely fallen victim to I'll just say the management process. I'll explain that a little bit more thoroughly, but give me 1 second. Let me put this in real quick. I just thought of another point to talk about. Okay. So first things first, what is a manager when it's being spoken in the context of like electronic music? So your manager is essentially going to be managing your project. First things first, they work for you. What does managing your project entail? Well, it depends on what level your career is at, first and foremost, but managing your career can mean handling correspondences on your behalf. So this means, having formal and professional conversations with other facets of the industry, whether that is agent. If you're small enough, you may not have an agent. You may just have a manager. So your management is going to be discussing, shows with talent buyers. Your management will probably be discussing with record labels, with publications. Your management is going to be having conversations with other management, so artist to artist relationships, or artist management to artist management relationships, I should say. They are essentially just the professional extension of you that should handle all of the, I'm going to say like business, but again, I'm saying that, holding back on saying that a little bit because that would be a business manager. That's a little bit different. That has more to do with accounting and finance. Your manager is just handling pretty much all of the communications of your business and all of the endeavors of your business. Along with that, a good manager should create opportunity for you. A good manager should bring things to the table for you in order for you to essentially create profit. Or just create growth, right? Growth is separate from profit. You can grow your project and not see a single dollar from it, but it's still valuable. Your management should be bringing things to the table to offer you growth, okay? Hopefully that made enough sense. That's, for the most part, what a manager should be doing for you. So let us talk about qualities to look for in a manager. So this is kind of... This is dismissing the idea of you shouldn't be looking for a manager yet. We're going to be talking about that momentarily. First things first, say that you are looking for a manager. These are qualities to look for in a manager, okay? You want to see what other clients they have, okay? There's a scale here. So it comes down to what you are going to want out of your manager. But the first thing that I will say is that your manager is not going to perform miracles for you. If you are to, by some stretch of the earth, say you're going to go get the same manager as, say that you're going to sign to Moshe Leezy, Marshmello's manager. If you sign to Moshe Leezy, you are not going to just blow up overnight. That is a completely unreasonable expectation for a manager. In fact, you might not blow up at all, and here's why. Marshmello on touring years is accruing as much as anywhere from like $20 to $50 million in touring revenue, and is probably even beyond that in overall gross revenue. Okay. So say that Mo is on a standard management commission, which would be 20%, which I know he's not, for the record. He's on considerably more than that as of the last time I was aware of that situation. But say that he is on the standard commission, which is 20%. That's a lot of fucking money. You, as a brand new artist, say that you do have a stellar year and you're capable of grossing over 6 figures in your first year of acquiring a manager. Okay, that's gross, that's not net. Say that you're able to gross that. What kind of a fucking drop in the bucket is that to Mo, considering he has another client that is doing that much, more in gross profit? The reason why I'm saying that and discussing that is because it's extremely naive to expect for him to put as much time into your project as he's putting into his big cash cow over there. And you might say, well, I'm different. I have a lot of promise, and Mo's going to recognize that. He's going to see how much I have to offer, and he's going to want to invest his time in me. Okay, let's even entertain the idea that you're right to some capacity. Say that he does want to invest some time in you. Keyword there is some. He is not going to split his time 50-50 between you and Marshmello. You're maybe going to get 5% of your time if you're lucky. And even then is an investment, because the profit that he's going to be making off of your project is not going to be even close to 5% of what he's making off of Marshmello. Okay. So this is a demonstration of just something to be aware of when you're seeking a manager. Sure, you might seek out a manager with a larger client so that you can piggyback off of the opportunity from that client. But again, you need to be painfully aware of your expectations here and know that you are not going to get miracles work for you. I cannot stress that enough. Nothing in this industry is going to work miracles for you. There is no cheat code. Let me say that one more time. There is no cheat code. I don't care if it's record labels. I don't care if it's managers. There is simply no cheat code. If you see certain artists blow up like crazy overnight, they didn't get a cheat code. They got lucky. They worked really hard for a really long period of time, and then at some point, luck came their way and they had a moment and they got lucky. It comes down to luck. You cannot challenge me on that. That is fact. That is not opinion. It is fact. They worked very hard, created as much opportunity for them as possible, and because of how much opportunity they created, they maximized their chances to get lucky, and then they did get lucky. Okay? There are plenty of others that do the same thing that don't get lucky, and that doesn't mean that their career is not worthwhile in any capacity and just dies, but it does mean that they're not experiencing that massive come up, which is probably what you might be expecting of yourself, right? It's very statistically, it's extremely unlikely to happen. I don't want to be breaking any hearts here, but it's important to set the record straight that you're not the anomaly. You need to understand your place in a level playing field, and you are not just this like God-sent creature that has been bestowed upon the earth in order to just like change the music industry. Maybe you are, but again, even then, your chances of like popping off and going fucking crazy like out of the gates is astonishingly close to zero. Close to zero. Okay. So anyways, getting back on track, excuse that little tangent, but qualities to look for in a manager. So you want to look for other clients, see what other clients they're managing, but be aware that if you are going to be the smallest client by a considerable margin, you see what I'm getting at? Like you're probably not going to get a lot of time. You're probably not going to get a lot of interest. If you don't do something to prove yourself extremely quickly in that situation, you're probably, I don't want to say you're going to get dropped, but you're definitely going to be put on the back burner. And again, you doing something to prove yourself very quickly is just statistically very unlikely. I don't care how hard you work. I don't care how talented you are. It does not matter. Having a crazy moment and blowing up out of nowhere is statistically very unlikely. You are not the anomaly. Get that through your head right now. I'm saying that for your best interest. If you want to work here, you got to know you are not the anomaly. All right. So beyond that, experience. What kind of experience do they have? So say that they may not necessarily have a plethora of clients, but they worked for 10 years at Monster Cat or Spinning Records if you're a house producer or whatever it may be, right? See what their other experience was, and value that, weigh that. If you're looking at a manager that has no experience, say that they're like a talent buyer in like a C market, like, I don't know, like Kansas City, Missouri. They're a talent buyer in Kansas City, Missouri, and they've been active for like 3 years. Is that the best prospect? Maybe, probably not. Maybe because, they would have a lot of attention to give to you, but do they have a lot of experience to, create opportunity for you or navigate the job as a manager appropriately? That's a very important thing right there. They have to be able to manage the job appropriately. They have to know what they're doing, or you're the one that's going to suffer because of it. Okay? Probably not. So if they don't have a plethora of experience, probably not. Again, this is where it becomes a hard place to figure out what is going on here, okay? Like what the best option for management is, because you don't want somebody with no experience that may prioritize you, but they're going to fuck your shit up. But you also don't want somebody with in my opinion, you don't want somebody with an absolutely monumental client that's just not going to give you any time or interest, because they're also going to fuck you up. And then, so along with experience comes like other work. So what I mean by that is, do they have a day job? Do they have another source of income? It's probably pretty naive of you to expect. So say that somebody approaches you for management and they have a day job. Say they're working at, I don't know, say that they're working, I'm trying to think of something. Say that they're working for like a publication, like an EDM, like publication or something like that. They may have connects, they have other work, so they have sustainable income. Okay. That's important, because if your manager doesn't have sustainable income aside from you, guess who's getting the pressure on them to create income? So you need to tread very lightly in these situations. Like, you do not want to be put in a position with a manager that is going to expend you beyond your capacity. Your manager works for you. You do not work for your manager. Make that explicitly clear in your brain right now. So if you're caught in a situation where your manager is forcing you to do shit, nah, that's not how this is supposed to go. Your management is working for you. Okay. Now, all of this is to say, let's jump back at the original topic, not original topic of discussion, but the original point that I was making, in that most of you guys do not need managers right now. Now, let me explain why that is. First things first, there is a gray area as to what you should do in regards to acquiring a manager. The options are you either seek out a manager yourself or a manager approaches you. Almost everybody in the industry would say it's most appropriate to wait until a manager approaches you. And the reason for that is your chances of success there are substantially higher than if you're seeking out a manager. If you have to convince somebody, if you have to sell somebody on you, and you really don't have enough to deliver to garnish your own interest, to garnish others' interest in you, that's a problem, okay? Be aware of the situation here. Remember, you are not the anomaly, okay? Be aware of the situation. Be aware of what the reality is, in that if you have to sell yourself to somebody else, do you really think that you're going to be able to get that much time and work out of them on your behalf? It's kind of a high expectation for a hard sell. You see what I'm saying here? Not necessarily realistic. Whereas if you've managed to garnish your own interest, and somebody else approaches you, they're probably, at least at the initial moment, they're willing to work for you because they want you. You see how this is working? They want you. They want to work with you. Therefore, you know that they are going to have the desire to work on your behalf. So that's something to keep in mind, and know that if you are to approach a manager, it's kind of a sticky situation. You're more than likely going to end up in a situation that is less than optimal. Okay. So really the advice that I'm giving here is to wait until a manager seeks you out. And you might say, well, my shit is fire, but nobody is seeking me out. Okay, if that's true, ask yourself, how much attention have you gathered on your project thus far? Is the answer not much? That's why. Okay. Or if, say that you're gathering attention and you're like, well, my shit is fire, like, and I'm getting some attention. Well, if the latter is true and you are gaining attention, maybe your shit actually isn't that fire. And that's just a reality check that you need to understand, right? You need to know that your shit might actually stink. It's something to be painfully aware of, that if your quality is not up to par, you cannot expect the world to just fall into your lap. Okay. That is why, first things first, like I've said in all of the other industry advice videos, you need to get your shit in order first. Priority number one is creating as good of music as humanly fucking possible. And I will tell you realistically, there is like all but maybe like 2 or 3 of you guys that are subscribed to this Patreon right now, at least in the ones that I've received demos from, that are at that point where you might start getting inquiries from management. Okay. So, let's see what's next. Let's talk about management contracts real quick. So I'm going to tell you right now, it's in your best interest to not sign a contract. This is coming from somebody that my first management relationship, I did sign a contract for. And I'm not going to tell you exactly how that went down, but it was a very, very expensive thing to get out of when I essentially wanted to leave that management relationship. Sorry, Momo, not right now. Very expensive. More expensive than you could probably fathom, to be completely honest with you. Momo, you're so bad. All right, he's going in his corner. He's fine. I hope that didn't end the recording. So, do not sign a contract. I'm going to tell you right now, standard management is usually 20%, between 15 and 20% of gross. Again, this is another situation where you have to be realistic. You're going to get what you pay for. So if you decide to, if say you get a management inquiry down the road and they're like, yeah, I want to manage you for 20% gross. And you're like, okay, let's do 15%. Well, they're going to be all right. They might still say yes, but they're going to work according to how much pay that they're getting. It's not in your best interest to try to rip somebody off, because the quality of work that they give you is going to be ripping you off. Okay. 20% gross is standard management commission in pretty much all areas. Now you become a way bigger client, Slander, Millennium, Excision size. That can change. I'll let you cross that bridge when you get there, because I'm not there and I'm not qualified to give you advice in that scope. You know what I'm saying? Do not sign a contract. Never. So if for whatever reason you do feel obligated to sign a contract, say it's just a standard management contract, the key points that you want to look for, which you should pay for it to be reviewed by a music lawyer, which will be difficult for you to find, all the more reason to make sure that your manager wants to do a handshake deal instead of a formal contract. Make certain that these things are not present in the contract, okay? You do not want to have any sort of a sunset clause. So say, for example, you fire your manager because they're working for you like shit. They're not a good manager. There could be a clause in that contract that says that you have to continue to pay them a percentage gross that essentially dwindles out over the years, okay? I will tell you this, part of the reason why the firing of my first management relationship was so expensive is because there was a sunset clause in place. And I was very naive. I was 18 years old when I signed my first management contract. Could I have maybe taken it to court and said that it was predatory? I don't know. It's not necessarily something I think about on a regular day-to-day basis anymore. But I'm just telling you, do not be preyed upon. Okay. Do not sign anything with a sunset clause. My sunset clause, I think it was like 10% the first year after the termination of manager, 10% gross, and then 5% for like the next 3 years or some shit like that. So do not sign anything with a sunset clause. Also, do not sign anything that essentially stalls the process of firing your manager. If your manager sucks, you should be able to drop them like that, okay? That is standard. That is standard in the industry. Again, you're not the anomaly. Do not be the anomaly, okay? Do not allow a manager to take advantage of you in the sense of, like, do not let them make you sign a contract that is going to forfeit your ability to terminate them at a moment's notice. They work for you, okay? You should be able to fire them like that. Got it? All clear. Okay. So that's for the most part what to look for in a management contract. Again, standard is 20% gross. I would strongly recommend not signing a contract. Just have a handshake deal, okay? And definitely, if you do sign a contract for whatever reason, have it reviewed by a lawyer, pay a music lawyer to review it for you and tell you everything that you're essentially signing away to. Do not sign anything that does not have the ability for immediate termination, and do not sign anything that has a sunset clause, okay? Those are the rules for management contracts. All right, so that's actually pretty much it here. It's kind of just like a very short little introduction to like management and the role that they fulfill. But yeah, to kind of give you a TLDR review here. Number one, most of you guys do not need a manager right now, and you should not seek a manager. The reason why you shouldn't seek a manager is because more than likely you're going to have to convince them that working for you is a good idea. And if you have to convince them and sell them on that idea, it's going to be hard to get adequate work out of them. Okay. Number two, qualities to look for in a manager. See what other clients they have. Okay. If they have too big of clients, it might be hard for, it might not be a hard sell, but it might be hard to get good quality work out of them. So, I could tell you that a relatively safe bet is to find a manager that has clients that are decently sized proportionally to you, but definitely like, a bit larger. Don't look for somebody that manages somebody like Excision. Maybe look for somebody that manages somebody like me. Okay. Big difference. There's a lot of leverage to grow you in that situation. There's a lot of experience because they've worked on a bigger project, but they also might have the time and capacity to be able to thoroughly work on you because you're not competing against a multi-million-dollar project. Capiche? Other work, see what other work they've done, other experience as well. So just like, have they worked somewhere else, etc. Weigh that. Use that to figure out whether or not they have the proper experience and connections to be in a management role. If they have none and they're like, oh, this is just my first fucking swing at management, I want to give you a shot. No, don't let them do that. Absolutely not. Not with you. Okay. Let them fuck somebody else over. You paid the $15 for July in order to get this industry advice, among other things. This $15 will save you a whole fucking lot of headache right there. All right. And then, management contracts, opt to not sign a contract, do a handshake deal if for whatever reason you do need to sign a contract. Lawyer, no sunset clause, immediate termination. And that's pretty much it. I think I touched on everything there. And most of you guys don't need a manager right now, so don't worry about it. But whenever that point in time comes for you, which I do believe a lot of you have the capacity to grow to a level and have your work grow to a level to where you have a career here. Okay. I want to say that. I thoroughly believe that. That's not right now, but that is in the future. You will just remember this video, and I hope that I will save some of you guys some pretty severe headache. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this was helpful to you. If not immediately right now, 3 or 4 years down the road, maybe less. All right, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.